So tell me who you are, where you are, what you do in SparkNC.
My name is Violet Shaw. I'm an ambassador and I am a student in the Spark 2 credit.
My name's Lennox French. I'm a junior and I am an ambassador for Lexington's SparkLab as well.
Could you tell me more about how you all learned about passion projects, just in general?
I learned about passion projects, I think, through you. You had done a passion project and that kind of interested me. Um, and I was kind of looking at other ones that I had heard about over the summer and then kind of came up with the idea for mine before school started.
How I discovered passion projects was mainly just by doing one, and then my SparkLab leader, Mr. Beamer, pretty much told us that, yeah, you can get like passion project credit for this and like credit hours and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. So, I continued doing stuff that would help me get more passion project credit.
Could you all tell me about your individual passion projects and then how you came up with the ideas for those passion projects?
So my passion project is both physical and technology aspect with a physical body model with different organs and varieties of autopsy procedures. And it has a technology component with the Makey Makeys and a game that I coded so that when you interact with the different organs, the information for those organs pop up. And then at the end, you can input what you think the cause of death was. I came up with it because over the summer I kind of like zeroed in on what I'd like to do after high school, and I'd like to become a forensic pathologist. They do autopsies, medical examinings, and testify in court. So I wanted to do something. At first, I was thinking of doing a virtual escape room with an autopsy, and then I decided that it would be better if I could do something with the Makey Makeys because I hadn't completed the unit for that one, but I did have a lot of fun with the projects that I did do for Makey Makey. So that's how I came up with mine.
So far I technically have two passion projects. My first one being kind of accidental, which was a VR like interactive taco shop. We ended up coming up with the idea just because I really wanted to dive into VR. We currently didn't have like, I wouldn't say not working, but we firewall our Facebook at our school because that's just how Facebook is with our school. And we weren't allowed to access our headsets. So I brought my personal and started just getting to work because I really wanted to learn more about game development with VR. That was my first project. And then my second project was more, I would say, planned, a little more professional, I guess. We ended up making a replica of our own SparkLab. And this was more so just to spread light on VR in general and also give people an understanding on what VR can do other than just video games. So if a Spark Lab leader is wants to know like inspiration and stuff to do in our lab, we don't just have to give them a video or give them a picture. We can show them literally through VR and other things like that. And I think I mainly just did it because I really love the medium. I love game development, and I really want to learn more about VR in general.
So, in what ways did your lab leader help to support you through the passion project?
With my passion project, it was mostly with the Makey Makeys because I made the entire body model at home and I had already used Scratch before, so I didn't need a whole lot of help with the game part. Um, but I needed to add more like inputs for the Makey Makey. So he and Adrian helped me do that for the Makey Makeys.
Similar to Violet's response, it was more so starting off with an idea and then working at home. I ended up making a normal, just desktop game for our demo day, and Beamer thought it was really interesting. A lot of people thought it was really interesting when we were at our demo day, and then I was already tinkering a lot with VR at home. I was doing stuff like modding my games, just messing as much with my headset as I could, and then it just ended up being like I really want to make a VR game. And Beamer was like really, really cool with that. And we ended up sharing ideas with each other. He was the one that actually thought of making the taco shop initially. And it's really just been a workup from there. So with stuff like the SparkLab, we were like, okay, we made something like a little basic. So how can we build off of that and make something a little more extraordinary? I'll say that. So yeah, they've always been able to support me with concepts, ideas, and impact, especially.
So passion projects are a lot of like unstructured. It's not like on the platform where it's like, and here's this step, and here's this step. So how did you go about kind of making a plan for yourself? And then in what ways did you follow the plan? And in what ways did you kind of like have to flex the plan?
For me, I like just created a Google Doc, and as I thought of stuff, I wrote it down and then saw if it fit with what I had already planned besides that, and then would check it off if it did, would get rid of it if it didn't. So I had like the path of what I was doing and like all the information that I wanted to add into the project. Um, but that was kind of like I did start using the passion project document and then kind of forgot about it and just used mine, but uh, it worked and I got it done.
Again, pretty similar to Violet's. Never really used the passion project document, but it started with a Google Doc, same as her. I would write down some ideas on what to do, and then eventually, once I started developing my game, I started using an app called Trello, which is where you can organize like how much you've completed something, what are your ideas, see if those ideas can go through, and it's basically just a more organized way of knowing what you want to work on. So I would definitely use Trello a lot when organizing your passion projects because it helped me really sift out what works and what doesn't. So with stuff like the VR Spark Lab, I went through a load of list of mechanics, and I would put them in um, thinking about it, confirmed, working on it, done. Most a good half of them would stay in the thinking about it category. But once they moved on to the confirmed, that's when I started really like trying to build off and make more and more. So I would say it's a combination of just making my own ideas, like just winging it kind of, and then using Trello to make sure I stay organized and not just go all over the place.
So, Violet, your project was not clearly high tech. Could you tell me about how you took this concept that you were really passionate about and made it high tech to fit this kind of passion project?
Like I said, I wanted to do an escape room at first, which would have correlated with the cryptography unit. Um, but I decided that a physical model would be more interactive and just more fun to do. So at first, I didn't think how I could have had the information pop up. I think I had always planned to do the makey makey, but then also adding the game component kind of just came in the middle of it, and that's really where the technology is. But that was kind of it, and it's like mostly paying attention to the model. But the makey makey is technically the crossroads of the technology.
Outside of your lab leader for support, what other kind of things in SparkNC and outside SparkNC did you leverage? What other resources did you need to find? How did you build on your learning from SparkNC? And then what things kind of outside of SparkNC did you have to access?
I would say the biggest ones for me, especially with game development, is online resources. I have talked to a few people in person for a little bit of guidance, but your biggest go-tos for game development, not for work, YouTube and ChatGPT. You may think, yes, it's cheating. Yes, it's not fair. But at the same time, ChatGPT is fairly primitive when it comes to especially VR game development because of how niche it is. Um, if there's any problems you need to have that YouTube can't really solve, and in like stuff like GitHub can't solve, and sometimes I go to Reddit forums to see if there's fixes for it. Unity's like help support area, but sometimes none of those work, and I try and work on it myself, and it doesn't help out. I will definitely go to ChatGPT for that assistance because it seems like the thing about ChatGPT is it takes all sources. It takes almost all of the internet and compiles it into one big response. And it's been very, very helpful when it comes to stuff like Unity hub errors, because Unity's not very good right now. Other stuff like APK files, just simple like mechanic bugs, like other things like that. If you really need that extra help, go to ChatGPT. That doesn't mean abuse it. Use it in moderation, but it is a very helpful tool if you know how to use it right.
For me, it was also ChatGPT and YouTube. But since I was making something physical, ChatGPT really couldn't do a whole lot for me. It was just giving me the ideas. It did give me the like format and ideas for the story behind the like why we're doing the autopsy and the autopsy report. But other than that, it was really just YouTube and like looking up like what organs usually weigh, um, where they lie inside of the body, and that was really it.
What advice would you give to lab leaders who have never had a learner do a passion project and they have a learner who's now interested? Like, what would you say to that lab leader as they're kind of supporting this learner who's going to go through this journey for the first time?
I'd probably tell them if they don't know the learner that well, get to know them, like figure out what they're passionate about, and then how that could correlate with something in Spark or just something technology wise, and to just help them in any way that comes up. But if they don't know them that well, that's really all they can do.
I'd say the biggest thing I could say for the new lab leaders is to let them love. I'll say that. Let them be passionate. It's obviously a passion project, so you want to let them be as passionate as possible about what they're doing. Um, they may get angry sometimes that something's not working out. I have plenty of times. But you really don't want to, like for game development, say you're a lab leader and you're an expert at making games. You're like, you can make games like that. I don't want you to make the project for me, but when I ask for assistance, I do want you to try and provide some insight. But I think it's just more about you letting them be passionate about what they want to make, because that's what's really going to make it seem like at the end when they're done, it's like, wow, I really did this about something I'm passionate about. So you really just want to like just give a helping hand, but don't grab their arm.
And then what would you say to a learner who's considering doing a passion project for the first time?
Understand that this is all Lexington's biggest like term ever used when we talk to people is the snowball effect. You may think you're going through like a lot when it comes to making this project, if you're going through like some struggles and like programming issues and other things like that. But when you're done, not only being done is going to feel great, but you're going to be like, so many doors are going to open to so many opportunities because you made that one thing. Like, you're really going to look back and be like, wow, that little bit of anger was like shadowed by all of this like joy that I feel from doing all these things. And like for me, I got to go to places like Chicago and Wilmington just because I made a VR game. Like, it's really crazy the things that can happen because you just do something that you care about.
I would tell them to be themselves, like actually pick something you're passionate about. Don't just pick something that's easy and you can get it done quickly. It's called a passion project, so be passionate about it. Know you're probably excited about whatever you're doing, but don't overwhelm yourself. Work at a steady pace, whatever pace is better for you, whatever you think you're capable of doing. And if you find out you can't do something, ask for help. If you still can't, that's okay. Try something else. Um, and have fun. That's really the most important part.
Is there anything you'd like to share that I haven't asked the right question and you all want to add?
Please, please, please don't be afraid to reach out to your lab leader, to reach out to other people that are an expert at certain things. Like, if you need a lot of help with makey, I mean, McClain could probably get you with Violet or Adrian, people in our lab that are, I would say, they're an expert at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need help with game development stuff, I mean, I'm willing to provide a little bit of assistance. I'm still going through this myself, but yeah, just please do not be afraid to reach out to the team. I know I said YouTube and ChatGPT are great resources, but now that people have actually started doing passion projects, it's really, really important that you talk to people that know, that have gone through what you've gone through, that have had the same struggles that you have. It's a lot easier than going on YouTube because they are on completely different hardware. They're doing completely different things than you are. But if you're talking to another student or another lab leader or another expert, they have done all of it pretty much. They've done most of it. So I think it's really important for you to reach out to those kind of people to provide a little bit of extra assistance.
I really just agree with Lennox. Reach out to people, especially if you like can't figure something out and you feel like you're going to give up, like ChatGPT isn't helping, YouTube isn't helping. Just find a way to reach out to someone, even if it's not from your district. Like getting to be able to talk to someone who has experienced something similar can make the world of difference with how your project and your self-confidence in it is going. So definitely try to reach out to as many people as you can.
So my name is Garland Beamer, and I'm the SparkLab leader here in Lexington City Schools, which is in Lexington, North Carolina. This is our third year having a SparkLab here in Lexington. And yeah, I'm super excited just to see all the growth that we've had SparkNC as a whole over the last couple of years.
How would you say you were able to provide assistance to students working on their first or second passion project?
Yeah, so that is actually something that I am still learning how to facilitate. So the passion project idea kind of came to be because, SparkNC has lots of units that are on our platform, but I think all labs had some students that were asking like, hey, I want to learn this, but there's not a unit for it on the platform. Is that okay? And of course we were going to figure out a way to make that work. So the SparkNC team kind of came up with this concept of a passion project, which is a way that students can earn credit off platform. They can still be on a device, but they don't necessarily have to create anything on the SparkNC platform itself. And they kind of have the autonomy to decide what they are learning, what they are designing, what they're making, whether it's like a digital product such as a presentation, a research presentation, or if it's something physical. So Violet, for example, here in our lab made a physical body basically out of clay, paper mache, different materials. So that would be an example of a physical one. So the cool thing is, Spark scholars have that choice of like what they want the passion project to be. But my advice would just be to let students explore, let students get creative. The first question you need to ask them is kind of how does this pertain to SparkNC and technology? Like what does it fall under? Is it game development? Is it cybersecurity? Is it software development, stuff like that? So which of those terms does it fall under? And then if they can answer that question, then kind of just let them fly. Just let them go out, let them explore, give them a couple of days to kind of brainstorm what it is exactly they want to do, and then come back and talk about like a plan for like actually making that into a reality. Mm-hmm. So
in terms of what's next, how are you able to give the student more opportunities from the things that they have created?
Yeah, so going back, that's kind of, I have a similar answer to the first question. It's there are really no rules to what you can make or not make on the passion project. And I think that is what makes it so fun for students and what makes it so interesting, because on the platform, you are kind of limited. I mean, what's on the platform is what you have access to. But with the passion project, you have complete freedom to go out and find something that is actually interesting to you, right? So like for me, if I was a SparkNC scholar, I'm not good at coding and I would like to learn more about that, but coding can be kind of scary. So I think if I were to do a passion project, it would be like the history of coding, right? Like learning about what is coding, how did it come to be, obviously going all the way back to like binary code. And so that would be more of like a surface level, like entry level research project about coding. And I think that would make me more comfortable once I knew the history of it and the purpose that it serves. I think that then would make it more comfortable for me to actually dive into a coding unit. So yeah, I think, and students can use passion projects in any way that they want. If they're already an expert at something and they want to go even further, that's cool. Or like I just said, if you don't know about a topic and you want to just like learn a little bit more about it, you could do a passion project. That would be more of like a research kind of project. I hope that answered your question.
Say there is a student that you don't know much about and they want to work on a passion project. How are you able to approach that student without, I guess, invading their space, I guess?
Yeah. So I think that's my favorite thing about working in education in general is just meeting people and getting to know their story, who they are, where they come from, you know, some of their hobbies and interests. And I think that is like at its base level is the simplest way to get someone to open up, right? Even not in an education setting. Like if you're meeting someone for the first time, the first things you always talk about are what, like music, what movies are you into, what shows have you watched, like stuff like that. So I think just getting to know who people are outside of school then makes people way more comfortable in the lab to be like, oh, you know, this person actually cares about the things that I'm into. And then I can, you know, if I know you're into music, I might make some suggestions about a passion project, right? That's music related. Or if I know an anime that you're into, right? I might, you know, suggest a passion project on animation and the history of anime in Japan or whatever, something like that. So knowing what people are interested in makes it easier to make suggestions. So for lab leaders, if you have a student that you don't know, it might be a little difficult to suggest some passion project ideas. So just sitting down and talking to them about what they're into, what are their hobbies and interests, might help you to come up with some ideas for a passion project.
In all aspects, how are you able to support a student doing their passion project? How are you able to help them through the process, whether that be networking or materials or other things like that?
Yeah, good. So that is specific to the student and their project, right? So the first step is identifying what is the end goal for the student. Like what do they want to create? If there were no limits, right? Money is not an issue. What do you want to make? What is the purpose of this passion project, right? So if you can identify that first, then we can backwards plan, right? We can go back and start very simple. So I think identifying what it is the student wants to make first is really important, because then you can have the conversation of how realistic something is, right? Because we do unfortunately have limitations, you know, with money and stuff like that. But that's when the creativity really starts, because if a student figures out, oh, this actually is going to be difficult because of, you know, if we don't have certain resources, how can we redesign this with what we have in the lab? We have tons of stuff in here. But yeah, so I think identifying what is the main objective, and then supporting the student by just allowing them to like fly free in the beginning. Do your research first, and then just checking in with them, you know, periodically, definitely daily, but also not hovering, right? Checking in with them and just saying, you know, hey, you know, how's that project going? What do you need from me? Is often just a good question. And most often you'll find that students enjoy kind of the independence with the passion project versus being on the platform. And so, but also making sure that they're, you know, still focused on actually completing it. So yeah, just checking in with students regularly would be a good thing to do.